Good afternoon. There is still major fallout today over why Vancouver City Council secretly voted to give the developer of an Olympic Village a $100 million bailout. The project is expected to be complete in the next 12 months. It's been underway for 2 years now. Several weeks ago, there were unconfirmed reports the $1 billion project was in trouble, and a national newspaper was reporting the city's chief financial officer apparently resigned and that she had concerns about the deal. Vancouver mayoral candidate Peter Ladner was in that secret in-camera meeting, and he's kindly agreed to join us now from downtown Vancouver with more on this. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Ladner.
It's my pleasure.
First of all, why do you want to keep this information secret now that it has somewhat leaked out?
Well, I should say that it's perfectly understandable. I really understand how people are spooked by this because it's been played for political purposes. And there is a legitimate concern about people about their taxes. And we're very concerned about taxes too. But I think that you have to realize that every decision that's ever been made by the Property Endowment Fund has been made in a confidential meeting. That's how these things are done. We're dealing with a 7% overrun on the project. All the councillors were there. We all had the same information. We all agreed that this was the best way to proceed. And all these decisions are always made public once the negotiations are over. But it is not wise practice in running a city to negotiate in public in the middle of everything, especially when there are large dollars involved. And I think it's highly irresponsible of my opponent to suggest that this could be in any way alleviated by exposing our hand in public while we're in the middle of negotiations.
I would probably suggest just the opposite. When there's that much money involved, there's no competition, there's no other party seeking to get the lowest vote or the lowest bid here. This is a done deal already. This is a company that we've already agreed to pay to build the Olympic Village. There's no need not to make it public at this point, especially if they're in trouble.
This is in the middle of negotiations now. It has not been resolved. That's the problem about going out in public, leaking confidential information in the middle of it all. That is not the way to get the best deal. That is not the way to protect the taxpayers. And it will be indeed made public. In the meantime, we have our staff working on it. We have outside experts working on it. We are going to ensure that this project is built on time for the Olympics as the previous council committed. And I should remind your viewers, this is backstopped by the fact that the city owns the land. It's the most desirable piece of real estate in North America. It will have $1 billion of marketing muscle behind it. It's a super green project. It's a fantastic project. And I am confident that there is no risk to the Vancouver taxpayers.
It's tough to, I know that we don't have a lot of time here, but if you could do this differently now, why not just vote to make this out in the open? Why not decide to make this public, to put all of our concerns at ease? You're getting, you may be elected next month in 10 days as mayor. People are worried that this is how you're going to work if you do become mayor.
This is the practice of all previous mayors of Vancouver. As the mayor, I would be getting weekly reports on this project. I would be making sure that the taxpayers' interests are being looked after, and I would do it in the best way that we know how, which is not to negotiate in public.
All right, Mr. Ladner, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Now, politically, the heat is on for Peter Ladner and definitely off the other mayoral candidate, Gregor Robertson, just a week, as I said, before the municipal elections. Keith Baldry joins us now with more on that. Keith.
Yeah, Randine, this really changes the dynamic of the mayoralty race, puts Peter Ladner squarely on the defensive. He's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He was in that meeting. He's agreed to play by the rules that are in existence at City Hall. Unfortunately for him, I don't think the public right now accepts those rules. They want to know what's going on. They want to know how much of their tax dollars are potentially at risk here. Someone is, trying to deal Peter Ladner a bad hand. Somebody had access to some confidential information, put it out there, leaked it to the Globe and Mail, and now, again, he's stuck in a position that a lot of voters may find unsupportive. But he's in an untenable situation, and you're right. Gregor Robertson is very happy not to be talking about skipping a fare payment between traveling between Vancouver and Burnaby. This is a lot higher stakes, and it puts Ladner in a very difficult situation in the final days before the vote. And it may actually determine the outcome of the vote, and who would have saw that coming?
What do you think would be the prudent step, not even politically for Ladner or Robertson at this point, but for the City of Vancouver, with so many people asking so many questions about this $100 million bailout?
The problem they have is that they've confirmed at least parts of this story. However, Ladner keeps referring to negotiations still underway.
I didn't understand that either.
There's some legitimacy. If there's negotiations going on, there's legitimacy, just like labor negotiations. There can be a media blackout. The problem Ladner has, he was in a meeting with his political opponents and Vision Vancouver. They were also in that secret meeting. At some point, perhaps some questions are going to have to be put to Vision Vancouver councillors. The problem Ladner has, though, he's up against a guy, Gregor Robertson, who was not in the meeting, who's out there free to exploit this issue for his own political purposes. I think Ladner is got some difficulties that are not of his own doing. But if there are negotiations taking place, presumably that is a valid reason not to discuss in any great detail what's going on. But because it's the cat's, the house, to use one analogy, the horse has left the barn, and it's time to open up about it. One of the problems, again, the parallel, people say, well, the provincial cabinet doesn't discuss things. The problem Ladner has in a provincial cabinet meeting, which is secret, that is tradition. If there are leaks there, it's not about one political party leaking information against another political party. They're all of the same party. In a council meeting, there are different political parties there with different agendas, and it's difficult for Ladner now in a situation finding himself having information leaked that benefits one side in the mayoralty race and not him. And that's why Gregor Robertson is going to exploit this for all it's worth. But somebody should ask Vision Vancouver some questions too. They were in the meeting. There's been reports they wanted this opened up. But again, Raymond Louie and others still have some questions to answer as well.
All right, Keith, thank you for that.